Then yeah, I'm gonna try and keep it quite interactive, but if you could mute yourself when you're not talking, that would be great. And to speak, yeah, please use the chat or raise your hand. Since we're such a small group, we can really keep it quite informal. We'll try. And there will be polls. So at some point, I'll be asking you to join onto Mentimeter. Maybe some of you have used that before. So there we can take part in interactive polls. Next slide, please. And yeah, for now, I'll just introduce you to everybody who will be who's part of the organizing team today. So myself, I mean, you've had a lot of emails from me, but it's actually quite nice to see you, all of you in person. So I'm Elsa Jurieu. I'm a sustainable procurement officer at ICLE. And as you know, I do work on the GPP training project a lot. Then we're very happy to have a special guest, which is Dr. Giuseppina Caluzzo from CONCEP, which is the Italian central procuring body and also part and owned of the Italian Ministry of Economy and Finance. And Dr. Caluzzo is a green and sustainable public procurement specialist there. And she'll be telling us a bit about what CONCEP is doing to adapt to the new energy labeling requirements and to encourage procurers to do that. And then I would like to introduce you to my colleague, Raphael Hertz, who's also a sustainable economy and procurement officer at ICLE, and he's leading on the BELT project, so the Boost Energy Label Takeout project, which we're using, which is a partnership between GPP Training and BELT, this presentation. So I'd like to leave it on to Raphael to say a few words about the BELT project, and then I'll start again. Over to you, Raphael.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsa. So as you said, this webinar is jointly organized together with the BELT project, and the BELT project is about raising awareness about the rescaled energy efficiency label for electronic devices. We started our work about a year ago with the aim for ICLE to raise awareness about the change. We are not working exclusively with procurers in the project. We also target consumers directly, retailers and manufacturers in 11 European countries. But yeah, ICLE's task is to reach out to the procurers that we know from our work that are in other projects with us. So I think this is an optimal opportunity today to pass on this information to you, and you will then be able to disseminate the information on the rescaled energy label in your networks, in the trainings that you are doing. Just to say it one time, most of you are probably aware of the current energy labeling system, which ranges from A++ to D, and which will be is being replaced from a system, or by a system ranging from A to G. And yeah, we are developing all this information material, reaching out with this information campaign to procurers. And I'm very glad that we have this joint webinar today, and also about the contribution from Giuseppina from CONCEP, that will give some more insights on how a central purchasing body is implementing and preparing for these changes. So thanks for your time today, and I will pass it on to Elsa.
Great. Thanks, Raphael. So I think I would just like to start. We probably all kind of know each other through emails, but it'd be good to have a quick roundtable and a quick round of introduction. So I would like to ask everybody to raise their hand. I'll be calling your names, and please unmute yourself and very briefly introduce yourself and where you come from. So can we start with Paula? Would you like to say hi? Paula? Oh, hello.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Paula Trindade. I'm from UNEG, which is a research institute within the Economic Affairs Ministry of Portugal. And I work in European projects, mainly in sustainable procurement, etc.
Great, thank you. Aisha and Zain. Hello? Oh, maybe they can't hear us. Let's get back to them. Odrone, hi.
Hi, I'm Audrone Aliushuta from Baltic Environmental Forum, Lithuania. We have been working with GPP concepts for probably more than 15 years. We're raising awareness, we're doing trainings on green issues in public procurement. And yes, we had some questions already about the energy issues. And yes, thank you for organizing this seminar.
Great, well, thanks for joining. Karis, would you like to say a few words?
Hello. I have a microphone. I'm Aya from Latvia,
Hi.
Latvian Environmental Investment Fund, and we have already done all GPP trainings. This is my colleague Zan.
Hello.
And yeah, we are implementing many international projects in the sector of circular procurement and circular economy. So this is our scope of activities that we are doing.
Great, thank you. Karis?
Yeah, hello everyone, good morning. My name is Haris Cordados. I work in the Cyprus Energy Agency. So as an agency, we are trying to highlight, let's say, the role of the local authorities in Cyprus and as a support structure of governance of mayors in Cyprus. We're also trying to promote GPP, the local authorities. So we have different collaborations also with governmental departments and also with some of the partners participating now in the webinar. And thank you.
Thank you. Ivan, hello.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm Ivan from Croatia. I work in a company that is in private sector, and we do many procurement procedures and procurement processes. We have been holding educations both for the Croatian Ministry of Environment and and been performing many procurement procedures. And yes, since we are working also in the EU funds, there will be need for all the good ideas, practices, and so on to boost this green part to be better in the project. So let's say all sides need this. So I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thanks for being here. Great. Kai and Sandra.
Yes, hello. We are Kai and Sandra from Baltic Environmental Forum Estonia, and we are implementing the trainings. We have one more training to go, which we have this week, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for making this happen. Marius?
Hello everyone, I'm Marios Petrakas. I work with Haris at the Cyprus Energy Agency, and I'm also involved in public procurement for energy efficiency, sustainable mobility, and renewables, and I'm also a trainer in the GPP.
Great, thank you. Matteo?
Hello everyone.
Hi,
My name is Matteo Guartini. I work for Fondazione Ecosistemi, and we are a consultancy firm who provide support to public, especially to public administration in implementation of GPP, and also in the elaboration of a GPP action plan. And we are also involved in many European projects, including the GPP training, and we projects which refer to GPP or other environmental issues.
Great, thank you. Then I'd like to Also, let's see a few words.
Hey, hi, I'm Orsolya. I know I have a difficult name, sorry about that. I'm from Hungary. I am an assistant professor at Corvinus University of Budapest, and I work as an sustainability consultant as well, and my main focus is GPP. Our 4 trainings are done, happily announcing it. Last week it was done, so I'm very interested in the energy labels because it's been always a challenge to describe all the pluses and their meanings.
Great. Well, good you're here. Hope that's helpful, this session. And then Stanislav, last but not least.
Thank you. My name is Stanislav. I'm from Bulgaria, working for NEFECT. NEFECT is NGO dealing with sustainable use of energy, supporting local and national authorities in elaborating policies in this area. We just completed our training a couple of weeks ago, and this, however, will be quite useful for me because currently we are making online training for homeowners, and this is one of the topics that we are going to train them, and it will be quite useful to know where it's going now, this energy labeling, because
very good. Well, I hope the session is helpful. Yeah, we can come back to any discussions or questions at the end. So moving on, I'd like us to go through a few polls. So I've just shared in the chat a couple of links to Mentimeter. And if you could click on those links and answer the 3 survey polls there, which are: who is your main audience in your GPP training sessions? How familiar are you with the new energy label requirements? And have you already had any questions about the new labels from people in your network? So it'd be great if you can, yeah, go on those links. And Raphael, I might share my screen for a second to show the results, if that's okay.
Yes, sure, I will stop sharing.
Lovely, thank you. And I will start sharing. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. Just 1 second. That's interesting. Sorry about that. I'm failing at this. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Let's see. Can you all see my screen now? Hopefully we'll get the results soon. Excellent. Oh, there we go. That is starting to look good. So we only have 1 voter for this one. If you, is everyone having problems with the voting?
Also, I can't see the link in the chat, only 2 links.
Interesting, yeah, there are 2 links in the chat.
Yeah, and the questions were not the one which you show at the moment.
Oh.
There was one more in the slide previous.
Yes, that's the 2nd link, which I'll share right now. Sorry about the multitasking. Oh. Let's see.
No, mä vastasin, mutta ilmeisesti tuli uuesti vastata ennen. Nyt on se. Covid. Okay, first time when I clicked on the first link, there was a different question.
Okay, well, that's looking pretty good for the moment for the results. So maybe we'll stay with what we've got so far. Can you still see my screen? So how familiar are you with the new energy label requirements? You can see that, great. So for that, I think most people have heard of the regulations but don't know much about the details for the responses. So I think that's good. I hope the training will be helpful. The main audience results, national public procurers seem to be the main audience for everyone. Hopefully you can see that as well from my screen. And if we go to the second poll, have you already received any questions about the new labels from procurers and policymakers in your networks? Most people have said no, and yeah, 3 people have said yes. So it'd be good to understand from the 3 people who said yes to that question, what sort of questions you got. And yeah, we can come back to that in the discussion after the presentations. So great, thank you everyone. Sorry for the slight technical mess. It sometimes works better. Raphael, would you like to share your screen again? So that's,
yes.
I move on with the presentation. Great, I should have unshared mine.
Elsa, you ended sharing your screen?
Yes, I should have done. Oh. I don't know what's going on with my Zoom, sorry. Having some issues there. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So
great. Thanks, Raphael. And sorry about that, everyone. Excellent. So yeah, first I thought I'd be providing you with a bit of background as to the new energy labels and why the Commission has done them. So the first point is the connection between the new energy label and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the new energy labels will be promoting greater energy efficiency, and they should be contributing to meeting 3 of those SDGs. So the first is the goal number 7, which is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. There's a question of affordability there of energy as well, with more efficient devices. The second one will be to make cities inclusive, resilient, and sustainable for everyone, again, which is achievable with more energy efficient devices. And the third one is, of course, the question of climate change and how, yeah, the EU wants to combat climate change, and the use to greater energy efficiency is key to that. So there's this first strategic alignment, and that's why one reason why the new labels have been introduced. Can I have the next slide, please? And the second one is, of course, the EU commitments to save energy consumption. So the EU is committing to reducing energy consumption by 20% from 2007 levels by 2020, and by 32.5% from 2007 as well by 2030. And so, of course, they want to implement actions that will help reach those targets. And the 2 relevant ones for today are in terms of eco-design and energy labeling of products. So eco-design will be about making sure that devices are manufactured in a way that reduces energy consumption. And energy labeling is all about informing people about what they buy to enable them to make conscious choices. And so, of course, there's benefits expected both from an environmental perspective by reducing energy consumption, climate change, but of course also, and that's also very interesting for public procurers, is the economic question and the money saving from moving on to more energy efficient devices. So again, the new labels would be supporting those commitments to reduce consumption. Would you mind moving on to next slide? Great. So why is it relevant to public procurers? Yeah, that's something I've touched upon already. There are 3 key messages really that the Commission and the BELT project is trying to carry forward in encouraging procurers to look at the lowest consumption devices. Is the lower lifetime costs So how much more, how much less running costs would you have by investing in a slightly more energy efficient device? That's a question we want all public procurers to consider. Also the promoting innovation and development. So in the context of the new labels, there'll be need perhaps for manufacturers to try and manufacture some higher quality, lower energy use products. And if public procurers with their annual spending, there's I think over 2 trillion euros are spent on public procurement across Europe annually. So if this power can be focused toward more energy efficient devices, there's potential to impact the market and encourage innovation for more sustainable devices. So that's also a message we want to push. And of course, there's the question of sustainability. The results will be that less energy will be used and is much better in terms of the environment for the future. So that's really the key messages that we can carry across to public procurers when talking about energy labels. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. And yeah, those messages for procurers are really supported in EU legislation as well. So a directive from 2012 makes it a very clear objective of the European Union that central government procurers purchase only produces, services and buildings with high energy efficiency performance. So there is a really strong policy and legal backing for that. And yeah, in this directive, member states are encouraged, or at least ordered, to encourage public bodies, including regional and local public bodies, to consider how energy efficient their purchases are when making them. Can I have the next slide? Thanks. In terms of GPP Training Toolkit, there's a lot of overlaps. And if you still have sessions to deliver, or if when you're going to disseminate this information within the people who attended your GPP Training Toolkits, for example, there's 3 main modules to which the new labels would apply. So the first one is GPP Training Module 7.1 on computer and monitors. So that relates to the display energy labels. Then there's module 7.5 in office building, design and construction. So everything that's an appliance within an office building, or the lighting system. A lot if you have a kitchen fitted within this office building, then the new energy labels will be relevant and applicable. And the third key one is road lighting and traffic signal. So module 7.8, if some of you have trained on that, of course, all the electronical equipment used in that is also covered by the new labeling requirements. And also the next one to watch out for, there's not been a GPP training toolkit there yet, as you're aware, but the new GPP criteria on food procurement and catering services and vending machines are out as well. And so all of the kitchen equipment that's covered by these new GPP criteria is also covered by the new BELT, the new energy label regulations. So yeah, that's the big picture. Yeah, thank you, Raphael. So very quickly, yeah, new European legislation on energy labels. So why are we doing this? There's already labels in place, and what's been driving this process really is that in many product groups, the improvement of energy efficiency has been moving a lot of products into the top 3 classes of the labels, which are, as you may know, so A++, A++, and A+. And what the Commission and the research bodies have found is that it's very hard for people to differentiate between those categories. So people see an A++, they think it's great, they don't think they need to go for A++. So there's a bit of a need to change the messaging so that it's more clear what devices are more energy efficient than others. And so that's what the new regulations are trying to achieve. Do you mind moving on to the next slide? Thank you. So yes, where does that leave us to? Well, to a complete redesign of the labels, where we're getting rid of the A+, A++, and A+++ classes, because they've been demonstrated to be less efficient. So under the new regulations, we're moving on to energy labels that will only go from A to G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and with A being the best one. And the other energy classes will be discontinued. And the process will be scaled. So for different product categories, we'll be looking at different timelines to get the relabeling coming on, and I'll be moving on to that in the next slide, which you can, of course, also take home. Just back on the slide before, Raphael, for a second. Thanks, sorry. You can see also in this mega-natural label that the new energy labels will include a QR code, which people will be able to sign, and that will include energy not only on electricity consumption, but also on other sustainability and environmental performance factors such as water use or the storing capacity or how much noise is emitted by the device. So the labels are becoming much more comprehensive as well. It's not only energy efficiency anymore, there's also some more information that will be included there through the QR codes. Can I have the next slide, please? Lovely, thank you. So what we're looking at now is the timescales for implementation of the labels in different products. So what you will see is that there will be 3 waves of rescaling, and so products have been put in 3 categories. So there'll be some labels being implemented in 2021 for some categories, and that covers, well, of most relevance to the GPP training will be displays, which need to be adopting the new labels by the 1st of March 2021. So that's coming soon, and that's really one you might want to inform procurers in your network about. Then light sources will be 1st of September 2021. Dishwashers will also be 1st of March 2021, so that's probably applicable to office buildings and kitchens, for example. And also fridges will be on the 1st of March 2021, so commercial fridges, which might be of relevance for public procurers. Then there'll be a second wave of rescaled labels, which will be taking place between 2022 and 2023. And I think the most relevant one for public procurers there is air conditioners and fans. As of 1st of January 2022, those will need to be adopting the new labels. So again, very relevant for procurement of buildings or office furnishing, that kind of thing. And something also to watch out for, but that's not yet included within the regulation, is there should be a 3rd wave of products to be covered by the regulations, but that's not been announced yet. So we'll keep you in the loop with that. Thanks, Raphael. So yes, let's just move on to the next one. Yes, so there's a slight transition period that's been implemented to a law that's really most relevant for manufacturers, but it might make things a bit confusing for public procurers. So essentially what's been happening is that between up to the 28th of February 2021, manufacturers who've been producing new products that require energy labels and the new labels have been allowed to publish the new labels only online rather than print it on the product. So it means that some procurers might be buying a product not thinking it got a label, but what they really need to do is to go on the website of the European Product Database for energy labeling, and then they can search for products and check they've got the right label. So until February next year, some products won't have necessarily the right label on them, and people will need to look up online what it is. So that's the transition period. And if you would move on to the next slide, Raphael. Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to give you a very brief example of what this might look like, those new labels for a new product category. So for example, for light sources, currently we had labels from A+++ to E. And now we'll be having a rescale label from A to G. And so usually you'd find 7 categories and 7 energy classes, but some products might have fewer energy classes. So if there's no way that you can assess in 7 different ways the energy performance of a product, then maybe we'll only go from A to E, say. And so yeah, A will be the best. It's also the color scheme doesn't change, and there'll be this QR code, which will really be of use for procurers wanting more information about the products they buy. So that's a very brief overview of the case study. And if you'd like to move on, Raphael, to my next slide, which is also the last, is also a bit of a reflection about how we think the new labels could impact the market and what barriers we may face. So there might be some issues. It will be a transition period, and it might not be easy for suppliers as well to change the devices. So that could cause a bit of confusion, which we want to avoid as much as possible and inform public procurers about. So for example, delays in the regulatory processes. So national member states need to implement the directive within their own regulation, and they'll need to implement sanctions. So that could take some time. And also the question of non-compliance by manufacturers and retailers. So it might take a while before everyone is able to label the products correctly. So that was it for me. I would like to ask you for now, we can have maybe 5 minutes for a Q&A before moving on to Giuseppina's contributions. So yeah, please send your questions in the chat or raise your hand. So we have one question from Odrone. Will QR code information about SVHCs? I'm not sure, Raphael, do you know that by any chance?
No, we haven't really discussed this. I cannot answer this question.
That might be something, I don't know if we can go back to the BELT project coordinators at some point and find an answer on that, perhaps at a later point.
Yes.
Great, sure. Thanks. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that, Odrone. It's a great question, since none of us knows the answer. Sorry about that. Kai and Sandra are asking, how is envisaged to avoid the future A+++ situations? That's also a great question. I mean, I think, I don't know what's envisaged, but I guess if they stop at A and decide not to introduce any more confusing categories on top, it might be that some categories have to be introduced on the bottom if some devices need to be dropped into lower categories rather than adding some A+ and A++ categories which cause confusion. But do you have any more information than that, Raphael, on what's actually been done?
Not for now. So what's happening is that there is some more, let's say, room for innovation, as products that are currently labeled A+ will, under the new system, be labeled B or C. So this creates some room for improvement, innovations in energy efficiency, at least for the next years. This is also one of the aim and idea behind the rescaled energy label.
Great, thank you. If any of you who's asking question want to jump back, feel free to unmute yourself and respond to myself or Raphael at any point. Otherwise, Paula, you're asking, what's the relationship between the new EU energy label and the Energy Star label, especially in regard to IT equipment? Raphael, may I turn to you again as our expert on that, if you know?
The Energy Star label, I cannot really answer on the Energy Star label. Is it used for the same product groups?
I think in IT equipment, it might be applicable, given Paula's question. But again, that's something we can get back to you. I'm tempted to say that Energy Star is a global one, and whilst the EU label will be mandatory, and I'm not sure how the standards differ.
If you want, I can answer.
Oh, great! Please go for it.
If I know that, but I can try. But Energy Star is an American label, US label. So first, public bodies was using that, but now there is an agree between Europe and US for this to use this label. But it was just for energy consumption and more for server, PC, personal computers, notebook. Maybe there is an Energy Star label for displays in IT, but not for the others.
Very good. Thank you for that. Well, from what I hear, then I think that yeah, it'll be probably easier and safer to rely on the European labeling system. But anyway, any product that's being sold in the EU would have to have the EU labeling system, perhaps even on top of any other label. So that's really the one that procurers should be watching out for and recommend. Great. Is there any other questions on this first part? No? Okay. Then I would very much like to pass the floor on to you, Giuseppina, for your presentation, so you can tell us about what Concept is doing to...
Thank you.
Promote.
So my presentation, just a moment. Okay. Good morning, and thanks to Rafael and Elsa to invite me today. For me, it's a great opportunity to talk about Concept activities. So, as a central purchasing body, Concept's mission is providing tools and skills to public administration in order to perform public purchases, and at the same time stimulate a competitive participation of enterprises to public tenders. So we provide innovative procurement tools as framework contracts, framework agreements, dynamic purchasing system, and an electronic marketplace for public administrations. Today, we'll talk about Concept in implementing the new energy label in the e-marketplace system. So as you can see, in this system, public buyers can select goods offered by several suppliers for purchases below the European threshold. And the entire process is digital, and suppliers and goods are qualified according to the selection criteria stated in the call for qualification notice. For example, if a supplier wants to sell in the marketplace a television or a washing machine, it has to be compliant with every national and European law, including the new Energy Efficiency Directive or the Eco Design Directive, every law. So Concept monitors that transactions are performed according to the marketplace rules and carries out of communication, education, and support activities towards public buyers and suppliers. All the suppliers can publish their offers by a catalog enriched with lots of information, including the energy efficiency class of the product, and the public user can make a direct purchase from the catalog as an eBay, for example, yes, you can see, or negotiate the product quality level by a request for quotation. So the system works in this way. And we have many categories, as you can see: services, goods, maintenance and works. In particularly, we have certified products in the marketplace as refrigerators and freezers, washing machine and dryers, dishwashers, television displays, and light sources. In the documentation published by Concept, we refer to public bodies to comply with Article 6 of European Directive 27 on 2012. So we are remembering them all the regulation, Italian and European regulation in the documentation of the MEPA, the marketplace. How we are going to implement the rescaled energy label in the e-marketplace? First, by informing all the users of the new system by newsletter. explain how to read the pictograms and the central section of the label, and the differences between the old and the new range, the introduction of the QR code and the EPROL system. So the first step is to inform. Then we give suppliers a useful time to update their catalogs on the marketplace, and after the deadline, the old catalogs will not be visible to the public administration. So it's impossible to see A+++ in one catalog of dishwasher, for example, just from A to G. So from 1st of March 2021, all washing machines catalogs will be armored by a drop-down menu that contain products with energy efficiency class from A to G. And the same for all the light sources catalogs from the 1st of September 2021. We'll do the same for all products involved by the new regulation. Thanks for the attention, and I hope our methodology is useful for you. And I give you some time to make some questions if you have, or doubts, everything.
Sorry, I was muted. Thanks a lot, Giuseppina, for this new contribution. Does anyone have any questions directly reacting to what Giuseppina presented? Any thoughts on how that might be helpful for procurers within your country? No?
I was very quick, but it was 10 minutes, so.
Thank you. I mean, the first thing I can think of, but maybe Raphael, would you mind sharing your screen to move on to the discussion slides then? Because, well, I would have a few questions for you, Giuseppina, which might be helpful to everyone. It'd be good to have the prompts. And maybe move on to the last slide. Oh, great, thank you. Well, the first thought I have on this is it'd be good to know how all of you intend to share knowledge of the new regulations among your network of public procurers and suppliers. And what I was wondering, Giuseppina, is if you would be able to perhaps share with everyone the newsletter that you're going to issue, so that
yes,
we could have a template.
Yes, but I have in Italian now.
Yes, of course.
So I can say that we are saying the first newsletter will be just an informative newsletter about the changes of the new regulation, just to understand. Mm-hmm. And just to prepare, because we have to say in January that in February we are giving 1 month to all enterprises, that because they have already the catalogs published in the system, all the products, so they have just to change the class of energy efficiency of their offers. So we give them 1 month to change the drop-down menu of their catalogs, or for example, cancel the catalogs and publish the new ones. And then after this month, if the enterprises are not doing that, we are canceling all the old catalogs. We are doing that because we have to help public bodies to do the best that they can do using procurement tools.
Yeah.
Because in some procedure as framework contract and agreement, CONSIP is making the bid, the tender, no? Yeah. So we manage all the information, but in the e-marketplace, they are free to use the system to buy whatever they want, by just with one click. Yeah. In the catalog and the offers published. So we have to make sure that they are doing well. Yeah. So it is not, there is no way to do wrong if the drop menu is blocked. Yeah. That's a very interesting approach. We have to understand the change. Also, public bodies. We are sending, I think, 2 or 3 newsletters, because maybe if they are not well informed, they cannot recognize. No, they can see just class B, for example, for a refrigerator or some, and they can think it's the all is low energy class, and it's not like that now. Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, thank you, Josefina, for that. And I'm wondering about everyone who's been listening. How does it compare to the circumstances within your countries? Is a newsletter to be sent to your network of public procurers a good thing, a strategy you could envisage to promote use of the new labels? Or can you think of other ideas you would have about how to spread knowledge about this to everyone within your network, so that everybody could know and benefit from your insights or ideas? Please write in the chat, or yeah, just raise your hand.
Elsa, this is Haris. Hi again.
Thanks. Hi.
Yes, actually, we are planning in the next GPP training session that we have to include a specific session about the energy label. Yeah. And also maybe it's a good opportunity to disseminate this new info together with the competent authority about GPP. Where in our case is the Department of Environment. Maybe this is a good step to share the knowledge about the energy label. At least this is from our side. Yeah,
I think that's a great strategy. I mean, using really the GPP training network as much as possible and including the information there. I'm wondering if there's any way that we can support you with that. Is there any information that'd be helpful for you to put the training together?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we are planning to do the next session in December, so we will communicate and see how you can participate in this training. Why not? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, if you need any support with it, please do get in touch. And thank you, for that. Would anyone else like to share their ideas? Is anyone else thinking of organizing GPP training session that would include information on the new labels, or to send information across their network?
We in Estonia, we have a last session now already this week, and it is quite packed because we had to shift from the physical meeting to the virtual meeting. So we would send this information with the materials to the participants.
Yeah, I think that's a great show. We'll share the presentation with you, and please do share. Also, something I wanted to say is that it'd be great if you share the information with the people who take part in the GPP training, but I'm aware that for most of you, your network is actually much broader than the people you've got within the GPP trainings. So it'd be great to disseminate even further and share the material to anyone for whom it might be of relevance. Either procurers national level or within government, or local procurers, or as you say, indeed, environmental departments from governments. I think there's many channels that would be good to consider to share the info. Would anyone like to share anything else on this idea of dissemination and encouraging public procurers to use the higher energy efficiency ratings?
Just I can say, if you want, when I'm ready to send a newsletter to the users, public enterprises, I can send to you, translate the newsletter, because we have studied a way to give not so many information, but the important ones. So there is just one page, but I have studied a way to give them small information but useful, just to get their attention. So if you want.
That would be great. Thank you for offering. Yeah, I think a way that's clear and concise, that you shared information would be good. And maybe that leads on to perhaps our last discussion point. Any challenges? I mean, that's also for us to learn from you. Do you expect any challenges and pushback from public procurers when you share this information about the new labels? And that's a question for everyone again. So please do speak. No.
I had a question. I have a question here. Well, we require, for example, equipment class A. However, according to our public procurement law, we should accept any alternatives of alternative equipment that complies with class A. For example, freezer without such energy label, but having the same specifications like class A should also be eligible under the procedure. But what kind of papers and how to make the bidders, what kind of information should the bidder provide in order to convince the procurers that although his equipment doesn't have the certificate, it complies with the class A from the energy label?
My first question is this a situation you've encountered where people have put to you some equipment that didn't include the labels? Or because...
Yeah, if it's not from European Union, they may not have a label. If it's coming from China.
Yes, so my understanding is that under the new regulations, so any product that's to be sold within the European Union will have to have the labels. Is that correct,
Okay.
Rafael? So I don't think you'll encounter, they won't be able to be marketed in Europe if they don't have the new labels.
Okay, I understand.
So that should make your life a bit easier.
We had the issue with the Energy Star, and there it was much clearer because Energy Star has some requirements, or you may need Energy Star label or to fulfill the requirements of Energy Star. But for these labels, if they're obligatory for all the products, it's not an issue.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. They're obligatory for all products that are covered by the regulations, and that's, yeah, a very extensive list. So you shouldn't be encountering that kind of problems anymore. Hopefully.
Okay.
Hope that helps. Thank you. I think we have a raised hand from Ivan.
Yes, sorry, that was when we were talking about dissemination of information.
Oh, of course, sorry, I missed you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was Haris who was mentioning it. In Croatia, it's actually very nicely organized. The Ministry of Environment put a very simple web page where they very simply announce all the information that are current, ongoing, and so on. So that's a great place to put it. And we have this system of education. So any procurer in the country must go through obligatory education throughout the years. And then you always put new subjects, new topics. So we're going to definitely, as we are one of the entities that provide training, we're going to do it, obviously. But on the other hand, yeah, there's a problem how everybody can see it. So, and yes, in the meantime, I agree with the labels proving from China and everywhere. So that's the problem anyway. So you just, at a certain point, you just have to trust them or not.
Yeah. And say, well, thanks a lot for sharing that. I think that's also a really, really good approach to dissemination. If you get websites and good channels. So it'd be great if everybody does the same across Europe. I think we're just about 1 minute before our official finish time. Would anyone like to close with a final question or remark on the topic?
Just to say, in terms of dissemination material, what we can offer you is not only the slides to do a training session with procurers on the new label, but also some background information, guidelines for you as the trainers, and also an infographic sheet which summarizes all the information. Of course, all this material is in English, but we will send it to you.
Great, thanks a lot for that, Raphael. Well, on those last few words, I think we're going to be right on time. It's 12:30. I am impressed that we stuck to the schedule. So if nobody's got anything more to say, thank you so much, everyone, for participating today. I really hope that was helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions on the topic, feel free to reach out to me or Raphael. We can also, maybe Giuseppina, put you in the loop if there's any questions specifically for you. And yeah, I hope you're all doing well with the new COVID regulations across your countries. And also want to thank you very much again for implementing the GPP training sessions in those times. It's been really appreciated, all your efforts to making this happen. So yeah, have a great day, everyone. And we'll be in touch soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.